What's up, guys? This is What's My Game. Thank you for watching. I'm doing my top 5 most disappointing games of 2015. Now, these were the games I found to be disappointing. They weren't necessarily the worst games I played, but for whatever reason, they were the most disappointing. Whether it be, the game was like super hyped and just didn't live up to the expectations, or maybe it was another game in the series or another game from the developer that I expected more from. So whatever the case is, this is my list. I'm sure this list is going to cause some controversy, which is cool. We all love our games and have different styles or whatever. Comment below on the games you think I missed or the games you think I got wrong. Hope you enjoy the video. Happy New Year 2016. Number 5 on the list, Star Wars Battlefront. And I know that's going to cause some groans in the viewership, but that's fine. To me, it was a disappointing game. And I expected more from a Battlefront series. And there's many reasons. And first, let's just get it out of the way. It is a gorgeous game, and it can be very fun at times to play. I'm not calling it the worst game of 2015. I'm just calling it the 5th most disappointing game for me, because I expected more from the Battlefront series. I expected more from the developer and the Star Wars genre, I guess. I hate the fact that the single player campaign is so scarce. There's not much there. There's a lot of repetitive. There's very few maps. A lot of people that are arguing for this game are saying, hey, the DLC is going to make it better. Well, why should I have to wait for downloadable content to make a game better when I just spent $60 on it, And most of the downloadable content is probably going to be, you have to pay for it. Now, we did just get an update with a new map for Jakku, which is pretty cool. It doesn't make the game any less disappointing to me. I just find myself getting bored with it. I probably played it more than I should, trying to just see if it would be better for me. Those first few moments, I will admit, were really amazing for me because the sounds and nostalgia, that's so beautiful to look at. After that, though, once the nostalgia wore off, it just became a little bit mundane and monotonous, and it just was disappointing. I don't know how else to say it. It's just a disappointing game, and I know many, many others feel that way, and I know many others don't, and they're rabid about it, but that's okay. So comment below and tell me what you think. Coming in at number 4, I chose Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Now, I haven't seen this game make anybody's most disappointing list, and I don't know why. I probably know why, but I know the reasons I found it disappointing. The game is beautiful to look at, and it's just amazing in its setup, okay? And that's where it stops, because the game could have been so much more. I understand their MO here was not to be a typical game, and I knew it was a walking simulator coming into it, but I was disappointed in that there was some buildup of real emotion and anxiety in the game, but it just could have done so much more with not much more input, in my opinion. I was just disappointed. I found myself, I didn't want to do another playthrough, first and foremost. I didn't even want to finish the game. And that, to me, is the most disappointing thing you can say about a game, is that you spend your money, and this was a reduced price release. I realized that, in a small developer called the Chinese Room, but I didn't really want to finish it. I didn't care. And that emotion I felt at the very beginning didn't last. It didn't hold my attention. Like I said, it's a beautiful game done by a very small developer. It just had so many more possibilities. There was so much that could have been done with this, and I just felt like it just fell off. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just disappointing. Like, I hate having to keep using that adjective, but obviously, we all know there's nothing to do in the game. Other than pressing one button to open a door and activate, watching some characters. I guess you do obviously turn the controller left or right, but it was just disappointing to me. I kept running through my mind all the different things that they could have done with this game and to make it better and to hold my attention and want to play through it. And it just didn't work for me. I guess I built it up too much in my mind. That's probably the problem, is when I heard about this game and I started reading about the game and I decided to do a walkthrough on it, I even did a midnight release. I really thought it was going to be this amazing, groundbreaking game, and it isn't that. So it's an interesting game at best for me, but it was really disappointing to me because I really expected more from it. And once I played it, I saw how almost awesome it was, but it just needed something else. And I don't know what that is, but it needs something else really to make it really a great game. Coming in at number 3, I chose The Order 1886 as my third most disappointing game of 2015. So this game disappointed me for many reasons, and I want to say again, this is not a worst list. This is actually a decent game, a good game in some cases. The reason it's very disappointing for me is for 3 main reasons. Number 1, the game is hugely hyped when it came out. It was on commercials every 5 minutes before its release, and it's a PS4 exclusive. So I expected a lot of this game, and I'm sure many others did. The problem is that at a leisurely pace, you can complete this game in about 7 to 8 hours. And without a multiplayer element to compensate with that, or to compare, to add to that, this game is just way too short. It's just simple as that. You compare it to other games like Fallout 4, where you're playing a couple hundred hours and you may not see the same thing. It's just too short of a game. If it had a multiplayer element and the main story or the single player campaign was 7 hours, sure, absolutely, 100% satisfied. But without a multiplayer element, 7 hours of gameplay or less, if you're going through it quickly, is just not enough in my opinion. Second of all, there is way too many cutscenes in this game. I love a good movie, and I love cutscenes in my games if they're done well. And these are done well. The problem is they outnumber the gameplay. I found myself watching the game way more than I was playing the game. And for me, I don't know, I guess I didn't expect that, and it was a letdown. It bothered me the whole time I played the game. Number 3 are these timed button pressing, things where you've got to press the button at a certain time, and there's just too many of them. It's okay in certain things, in certain cutscenes or whatever, and it makes a cutscene somewhat, interactive. But to me, there was too many, and I just got tired of them, to be honest. So the game was a huge letdown for me and many others. So while it is an unbelievably good-looking game and very intense at moments, to me, it was disappointing. Coming in at number 2, I chose Godzilla as my second most disappointing game of 2015. Why was I so disappointed in it? Well, number 1, it's coming from Bandai Namco, and if you don't have to know the history of Bandai Namco to understand this, but they have been around forever. I mean, Namco originally made games in the 70s that you've played, Pac-Man, Galaga. My point is, they've been around forever, and they know how to make games, and they know how to make good games, and even the Dark Souls series, obviously very recently. So Bandai Namco is very capable of making an unbelievably high-quality game. Couple that with the fact that their game reveal trailer back in December of 2014 looked phenomenal. Now, keep in mind, there wasn't much gameplay in that, which should have told me there was a problem, but the game looked awesome. The problem is they didn't show any gameplay. When you actually play the game, it looks like a game that they made in the 70s. I mean, it's terrible. So I was just really disappointed. I won't even spend too much time on this because the reviews are out there. The game was beaten up by everyone, and this easily could have made the worst game list. But for me, it was disappointing because I was actually looking forward to this game when I saw the review trailer. I thought it would be really cool spin, and with the new gen platforms that are out there and the capability, I just thought it would be amazing. Now, they did release it on PS3 as well, so in that case, it does hold it back to some extent. But look at this gameplay. It's terrible. Here I am standing on water. I mean, it's just like something, really honestly, the PS2 could pull this game off. Coming in at number 1, my most disappointing game of 2015 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. And being the 5th, I think the 6th game in this series, I think that so many people expected a lot of this game to take it to the next level. And I was included in that, obviously. And unfortunately, it went the opposite way. So much so that I think it's done irreparable damage. I don't think we'll see another Tony Hawk game, and that's unfortunate because this series was one that myself and millions of others enjoyed and spent hours of time playing. This game got away from the sandbox mode, which is fine. They added a multiplayer element, which is absolute garbage. It does nothing but slow the frame rate and add more loading times and terrible graphics, and just a bunch of players skating around, not really adding to your gameplay experience. Also, the game controls and the gameplay are just terrible. I found myself very, very frustrated most of the time, and that's not a good thing. If you're frustrated because the game is very challenging in a good way, that's fine, and that's exciting. But when you're frustrated because the game controls or the game play itself is just terrible, that's not good, and that's how this game was. And I'm so glad I rented it instead of buying it. I actually rented this game and Godzilla, and because I heard that they were bad, and I'm so glad I rented them and just wasted $2 each as opposed to buying them, because they're both terrible. On both of the games I rented, I took them back the next day. They're that bad. So it's just not a good game. The graphics are not good. The gameplay is not good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. The reviews do a better job of telling you what's wrong with it, but it's not a good game. It's very disappointing, and that's why it's number 1 on my most disappointing list of 2015. Now, I must say, 2015 was a great year for video gaming. I had a hard time coming up with 10, so I cut it down to 5. There just wasn't that many games I was really disappointed in. So I'm really excited about that, and hopefully 2016 will be even better. Maybe I can only scrounge up a top 3 disappointing list. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what games you were disappointed in below and what games you would have put on the list. Have a great day. This is What's My Game. See ya!